Hey, what's going on, everybody? Kazama Fury here. And I just finished watching Aquaman earlier today, and I gotta tell you, for real, this tops Wonder Woman as my favorite DCEU movie and one of my favorite comic book movies of 2018. Yeah, definitely. Of probably the last few years, it's one of my top movies. And for a character that I grew up watching being done lamely, meaning like people thought he was a lame duck because of Super Friends, and they've been doing nothing but good things with him in the comic book. I mean, they went through this phase of them trying to make him badass. He lost a hand, protected his son, and he got the beard, and he just became all types of badass. But it was like they were compensating, whereas it's a little bit different now. Like thanks to injustice, thanks to better writing in the comic book, thanks to DC animated, Aquaman has become a formidable character. And this movie really shows his strength, basically how it works, why the Atlanteans have so much strength. I mean, it's not spoiling anything by saying this, but to live with that much under that much deep pressure, you have to be strong. You definitely. And think about this. He's half Atlantean and he's still pretty powerful. So, whew, yeah, Atlanteans are pretty strong. But without spoiling too much of the movie, because there will be spoilers going forth, I gotta say, I'm really happy with Jason Momoa and that he's just wasn't just a running catchphrase machine in this movie. He actually had good chemistry with Amber Heard. Um, the cast was excellent. Like I really liked everybody from Patrick Wilson to Willem Dafoe to I don't know if I pronounce this correctly. Who played Black Manta? I think it's Yahya Abdul Mateen, because I don't want to say Yahya. I think it's Yahya Abdul Mateen who played Black Man. So you understood why he hated Aquaman, and then you understood at the same time that it was pretty much not Aquaman's fault. Without going into detail, there was a nice cameo from someone that, if you are a recent watcher of a certain MCU film involving a man who could shrink, you would know this guy and you would know his cameo. And I saw that, I was like, that's cool. I know him from somewhere. And sure enough, it was him. So, getting into the movie in detail, Aquaman was excellent. I can't even front on that. From the special effects to even James Wan managing to put some of that horror aspect in it, because his movies like Conjuring are PG-13, but they just like it got like a nice PG-13 horror feel to them, because the PG-13 money, we can't front on how good that PG-13 money is, and there's a part in this movie that really captures that. So I gotta say, like I was saying, the cast from Jason Momoa to Amber Heard to Willem Dafoe to Nicole Kidman, and I think this is the first action movie I've seen her in, and she actually performs adequately action. Well, Amber Heard's, whoever these people who train Nicole Kidman, Amber Heard, or where they fight doubles in certain scenes, take my hat off to them. From everything, the fight scenes I liked, and it made like the trident fighting, because it's basically spear fight, Chinese spear fighting. That had to be what it was. James Bond being of that descent of being of Chinese descent, I believe. I'm not even surprised that he would go out and get the right choreographer, because the man pays attention to details. Atlantis looked great. The different races of the seven seas, the sea monsters. Some of them look like something out of some old Pacific Rim shit. Okay? And I loved it. I really did. I liked where they went with it. I gotta say, is there anything that I found wrong with the movie? it might settle on me later on, but going on to it, I can't really find that much wrong with it. It had a strong third act. Like the third act didn't meander. Wonder Woman's kind of fell apart. It didn't meander, but it just was like, nah. Act 1 and 2 was actually the best parts of Wonder Woman. You know, besides Gal Gadot and Chris Pine being great, having great chemistry, unlike Cavill and Amy Adams. Both are okay. I've seen Cavill and other stuff, and he was good. I mean, hell, look at him in Mission Impossible, the recent one. Look at him in what's that show? Was it the Tenors or son? And he was, you know, the Immortals, different things. The guy can act. It's just, but this is not about Man of Steel. You know, this is about Aquaman. Aquaman was a good movie, and I'm not spoiling. This is not my spoiler review. If I decide to do one, I'm just telling you, it's worth your time. Put whatever fears you have about DC track record to the side. Put whatever, you know. Now Wonder Woman has a companion that stands up there with her, if not above. I'm sorry, like the movie, you know what gets me about this? The acting was good in this movie, but it had more action and good and better action than Wonder Woman. That's why it takes the crown for me. And I mean, the story basically, I've heard some people say the story, they wish it could have been better, but I'm watching a comic movie. I know as long as the story is coherent and there's not a bunch of stupid shit that doesn't make sense in it, I'm down. Because I'm not looking for Citizen Kane here. But for what the plot is of the movie, I can tell you that much. It might spoil you a little bit. Just be warned. Okay? Basically, if you don't know your Aquaman history already, his mother was the queen of Atlantis. She ran from a arranged marriage. She fell in love with the man who found her, the lighthouse keeper, which happened to be Aquaman's father. They had a child together. Years later, when he was just a little boy, the Atlanteans finally found her, came after her. She whooped their ass, but she know they wouldn't stop, so she went back and made and fulfilled the marriage. And she had Orm, who is Ocean Master, played by Patrick Wilson. But the king, his father, would not forgive her for what she's done and the child she had. So he killed her. And because of that, Orm, Ocean Master, come to resent his older brother on surface land, Arthur, aka Aquaman. And the rest of the movie from there is history. But then, of course, this movie, I forgot to tell you, it takes place a year after Justice League. So, let's just say Aquaman makes an enemy of Black Manta before he became Black Manta, and you understand why Black Manta exists. He's not in here as a throwaway character. He has, he has that misguided villain thing going on about him, meaning like, he believed his truth is the absolute. When in fact, see, I don't want to spoil you. I don't want to spoil it. You just gotta watch the movie. Trust me on this one, okay? I don't do much movie reviews at all, and I don't try to. I'm not making any comparisons to any other movie franchise or any rival movie franchise. I'm not making any comparison. This was a good comic book film, just overall. I don't want to make comparisons. This is what people do. Like, me on my channel. I don't like fanboyism. I like good shit. From Marvel, from DC, from Nintendo, from Microsoft, from Sony. Okay? And I gotta say, this movie is good shit. You're gonna like it. If you a comic book movie fan, if you not even a fan of Aquaman, let's say, for example, you like Justice League. You saw the potential Justice League had before it fell on its damn face. you will like what they've done with Aquaman. You'll like the fact that this standalone movie continues on that storyline. So I think this is probably going to be one of the only few movies that might continue it. We don't know what Shazam offers. We don't know if it's in its own universe like the Joker movie is going to be, or is it going to be in the DCEU? Because Aquaman's in the DCEU. I don't care what people tell you. It's in the DCEU. I told you earlier. Everybody know, you can find out for yourself. It is a DCEU movie. It is the official sequel to follow up to Justice League. Whereas Wonder Woman 84, all her movies are in the past. See, it's so confusing, but I'm trying to explain it to you. Wonder Woman, World War One, 1984. Basically, now I think because Aquaman is going to do well, it's doing very well overseas in Asia and Europe, I believe. If it has been released in Europe, I think Asia alone, it did better than Civil War over there, you know? So it's gonna do good here. I don't see no reason why it shouldn't when it get released later on this week. So I can tell you this. Now, the third Woman movie has to be a continuation to the storyline in DCEU. But what does that mean? Will we get a new Superman? Is according to Jason Momoa, Henry Cavill's not completely done, but I don't know if Jason Momoa is just screwing around with us. So you know, your guess is as good as mine. But once again, this movie is tight. I love the special effects. Like how they pulled off the underwater. It didn't look ridiculously underwater, but the movement was good. You could see like the slight movement, how their hair was underwater. You could see like it's just little details, like certain Atlanteans weren't used to living on the surface, so they had to use the suits to keep water, to keep their the water in the system, to keep their strength. It was just a lot. It was cool. Like, I don't want to spoil it, but I can tell you one person who was pretty good in this movie as an actor. I know his role wasn't massive, but I liked Dolph Lundgren in this. I really did. I liked Dolph Lundgren in this, and Morrison, who played Jango Fett in Star Wars Episode 2, he was good as Arthur's father and stuff. Good match, you know, like good. Like, if you're gonna cast people that look like parents and stuff, you can see like he has that strong Marley Trop look, and you know Jason Momoa being of Polynesian Hawaiian descent, and Nicole, you know, Kidman being white Australian, and it's just stuff like that. You can see where Momoa kind of has like a look of both of them, or so, like a book of both. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's good casting on that. And like I said earlier, like I don't think I've seen Nicole Kidman in a role like this before, and she was good. And hats off to James Bond for getting her to do this movie. Like, I would never thought she would have done it, but then again, Michael Douglas was in a Marvel film. Okay, they got Michael Douglas. I mean, hell, they got Julie Andrews for this movie too. So they got Julie Andrews for Aquaman as well. It's cool. Like, I can't go on any longer because I'm going to start really spoiling the movie, and I want you to see the movie. If you're a fan of comic book movies, this one's a good one. So you can put your wariness aside, because I know DC's track record hasn't been that good when it came to their new universe. You know, from Murder Man versus Captain Hypocrite to Man of Fell to the Good Wonder Woman to I Wish They Would All Commit the Suicide Squad. Aquaman is my top DCU movie, seconded by Wonder Woman. Okay, that's where I'm leaving it. I give this movie A. I give it like a solid A. I can't really find no faults with it. I might be able to pick stuff apart, but I was so entertained by the movie I couldn't give a shit. Like, it's stuff that you can let pass. I'm not one of those fans who, because I like one side more than the other, I try to pick flaws apart on everything. You know, so I like this movie, really do. I can't go on any longer. So anyway, I hope you see it later on this week. Or if you've seen it already, let me know what you thought about it. Just make sure you don't spoil it for anybody in the comment sections. So as always, keep watching what you want, keep gaming the way you want, keep being you. Cause I'm a Fury. I'm out. Peace. Oh yeah, and one more thing. Who else was good in this movie? It's just one more thing I wanted to say. Yeah, no, I don't want to spoil it. So peace.